It's time now for a look at the day's top business news, and I'm pleased to say Brian Quinn's in the house. Great to see you, sir. How are you?
Good to be here,
you well?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to see you. Right. Starting in Australia, Facebook and the government have refriended one another. Very good. With a deal that will see the social networks stop blocking news content. Give us the context and the latest.
Indeed, well, Facebook, Mark, is set to start allowing Australian news to be shared on its platform in the coming days after negotiating changes to the government's plan to force tech giants to pay for news content. The week-long standoff over that plan had led to Facebook blocking news content for users down under. Canberra has agreed to several concessions in its proposed bill, among them a mediation period of 2 months in situations where tech giants can't reach a deal with publishers. The dispute is being watched by lawmakers in other parts of the world who are considering similar laws. Australia's finance minister says the dispute is a proxy battle in the worldwide fight over funding news on social media.
Absolutely critically, the code maintains its key measures. Namely, it's a mandatory code, a world-leading code. Secondly, it's based on two-way value exchange. And third, it involves a final offer arbitration mechanism.
Well, the head of the U.S. Central Bank says that the U.S. economic outlook remains highly uncertain and that significant support is still needed to see it through the coronavirus pandemic. Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell appeared before the Senate Banking Committee Tuesday. He pushed back against suggestions by Republican lawmakers that the Fed's asset purchase program could be contributing to a dangerous asset bubble and risks runaway inflation. The Fed has been conducting monthly purchases of around $120 billion worth of government bonds. It's also kept interest rates near zero. Powell says inflation is still soft, the labor market is still weak, and the Fed's policies are here to stay for now. Here he is.
The main thing that we can do is continue to support the economy, give it the support that it needs. We're still 10 million jobs below the level of payroll jobs before the crisis. There's still a long way to go to full recovery, and we intend to keep our policy supportive of that recovery.
Checking in on the markets next. Wall Street rose after those remarks from Powell to erase some significant morning losses. Both the Dow and the S&P closing in positive territory as the Fed chief relieved some investor fears over interest rates and inflation. Nasdaq still 0.5% in the red at the end of the session as a sell-off in big tech shares continued. European indexes finished the day mixed. Shares in HSBC down over 1% as the bank reported a 30% drop in profits last year. London's FTSE 100, though, still ending in positive territory as the UK agreed to extend the EU's deadline for ratifying the Brexit trade deal by 2 months. Bitcoin continued its slide after U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called it highly speculative and extremely energy inefficient. The cryptocurrency currently trading at around $48,000 each. Finally, for business, the UN's Labor Standards Agency says workers' rights are under severe threat amid a boom in online work. According to the International Labor Organization's latest report, the vast proliferation of digital labor platforms worldwide only underlines the need for international policy coordination and regulatory cooperation to better protect gig economy workers worldwide. Mario Sofas reports.
Five-fold increase in digital labor platforms over the last decade. Growth that has created new job opportunities and provided flexible work for women, people with disabilities and those in developing countries. However, as outlined by the International Labour Organization in its latest report on the state of global employment, many gig economy workers are poorly paid and lack access to traditional workers' rights, such as health benefits and collective bargaining.
There is a need, and it's an urgent need, for international policy discussion and coordination that would be, I think, crucial to find common regulatory solutions and to reinforce the fact that universal labour standards are and must be applicable to everybody, to all working people. What is unacceptable in the analogue world of work should also be unacceptable in the digital one.
On the whole, platforms classify workers as independent contractors, with their rights dependent upon the platform's own terms of service and not employment law. Last week in the UK, the tables turned for one major platform, Uber. The British Supreme Court ruled that its drivers deserve more protections than the company was willing to offer. The court classified Uber drivers as workers, meaning they're entitled to benefits like minimum wage, working time protections and holiday pay. The COVID-19 pandemic has made platform work more relevant than ever, speeding up the shift to a digital economy. With sweeping job losses, millions have taken up gig work.
Well, finally, for business, Spotify is planning to launch in 85 new countries. The move would nearly double the audio streaming app's geographic coverage and add some 36 languages to its service. Developing nations across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean making up the bulk of the new locations. Spotify says the move will make it available to more than 1 billion potential new users. The company currently has some 345 million monthly users with around 155 million paying subscribers. It faces growing competition, though, from tech giants like Apple, Amazon, and Google. It also faces significant criticism from artists over what they say are paltry royalties paid out to them. Mark, I did the research on this. 1,000 streams on Spotify comes out to a cool $4. It's not exactly going to pay the rent.
That is awful. Wasn't it the pop star Prince, God rest his soul, who said that the internet will actually mean nothing for musicians? They'll get ripped off left, right, and centre. I think he said that.
A prescient man.
Indeed, because
Yes.
what you're saying it clearly looks that way.
Yeah.
No judgment of Spotify. Clearly, they have a business model, but
They're not alone in that rate strategy there.
what you've just described there sounds like risible, doesn't it? Completely.
Indeed.
Brian, as ever with the business, Brian Quinn, thank you very much indeed. Great to see you, sir.